Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. So greatly appreciated. Truly is. Before we start, let me give you my usual disclaimer that this video is for educational purposes only. Please do not take what I say as fact. Please always do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Next, if you have not liked, subscribed, or commented yet, please consider doing so. Just make sure you keep it nice and classy in the comment section down below. And with that, let's get started. Sierah Catherine Jougin. Sierah Jougin was born on February 11th, 1996 in Sylvania, Ohio, to parents Sheila and Tom. She was one of 5 siblings, 2 brothers, Carson and Hunter, and 2 sisters, Kayla and Ava. She was a graduate of Evergreen High School, where she played volleyball and was getting ready to enter her junior year at the University of Toledo, where she was part of the business fraternity Alpha Kappa Psi. She had plans to work in human resources management after graduating. She loved to travel. Her favorite color was purple, and she had a deep love for horses. Sierah was described as full of life, having a great sense of humor, and being very athletic. In the early hours of July 19th, 2016, Sierah tells her mom that she wants to take her new purple bike, out for a ride to go see her boyfriend Josh, who lives about 7 miles away from her. Sierra and Josh had actually known each other since they were 6 and 7 years old. Then when they were in their freshman year of high school, they became romantically involved, and they were together ever since. They were a very active couple, and they loved to travel together. So at around 6:30 p.m., Sierra decides that she wants to go home. Josh actually gets on his motorcycle and rides with her because he doesn't want her to ride her bike all the way home by himself. When they're about halfway to Sierra's house, she yells at him to go back home. It's because Sierra was a very independent person, and as far as she was concerned, she can ride her bike home. So they stop at a corner. He kisses her goodbye. One goes to the left, one goes to the right. Sometime after 7 p.m. on July 19th, a local farmer named Troy is driving down County Road 6 when he notices a bike helmet beside the road. He picks up the helmet and he throws it in his truck and he takes it home. At about 8 or 9 o'clock that night, Josh is calling and texting Sierra, and she's not answering him. So he texts her grandmother and asks her if Sierra is there. And Grandma says, "I thought she was with you." Next, he calls Sierra's mom, who says that she's not home and she doesn't know where she is. So Mom calls Grandma, who says that Sierra's bike is not at the house. So at this point, the families are very concerned. They jump in the car and they drive around looking for Sierra. Can't find her. After driving around for about an hour with no luck, the family goes home and they take to social media and they call all of Sierra's friends. After no luck with that, they call the police at approximately 11 o'clock p.m. Okay, let's talk about Metamora, Ohio really quick. Metamora, Ohio is a small, close-knit town where everybody knows each other. Nobody locks their doors, and everyone has cornfields in their backyards. Just outside of Metamora is Toledo. Okay, Toledo, Ohio. I-75 and the Ohio Turnpike go through Toledo. This is a huge spot for trafficking, and officers have actually found girls taking from Toledo as far as Detroit, Las Vegas, and Pennsylvania. So this was a major concern for Sierra's family. Less than an hour later, at 11:45 p.m., a neighbor calls Mom to tell her that police have County Road 6 blocked off. Okay, so while officers are out searching for Sierra, one of them comes across a bunch of disturbed corn and motorcycle tracks. Because the tracks are so shallow, the police were unable to cast them, but they did take photographs of them. Mom runs down there for answers. It takes a while for her to get them, but she does finally find out that Sierra's purple bicycle was found in the corn. Not far from where the bike is found, police find more disturbed corn, women's GNC sunglasses, men's sunglasses, a screwdriver, a woman's green ankle sock with blood on it, and blood on the corn stalks. Because it's cold at night and warm in the mornings, condensation forms. Because of this, the corn stalks are not tested. Rather, they're just photographed as evidence. After the local farmer, Troy, hears about Sierra, he calls officers to tell them about the helmet. When he hands officers the helmet, they realize it has blood on it. So, not surprisingly, their next stop is to boyfriend Josh's house, who not only was the last person to see her, but also told authorities that the last time he saw her, he was driving his motorcycle. Okay, fair. Josh is able to hand over his motorcycle helmet, and Josh's parents are able to say that he was 100% home that night. So at this point, boyfriend Josh is ruled out. The investigators begin to go door to door, speaking to neighbors, okay? On July 21st, officers went to the home of James Worley. He lived in the home on County Road with his mother and his brother, close to where Sierra went missing. Officers testified that Worley was very nice and very cooperative at first. He invited them in, spoke to them for about 90 minutes, recounting his movements on July 19th. He told them that around 5:45, 6 p.m., he left his house on his motorcycle to go for a ride. While he's driving on County Road, the motorcycle stalls. He gets the motorcycle running, then it stalls again by a cornfield. It's there that he spots a bike laying on the ground. So he picks up the bike and considers riding it home. Then he decides to try the motorcycle one more time. The motorcycle starts, he gets on his motorcycle, and he drives home. He says that he arrives home about 10 p.m. and that nobody saw him while he was on his trip. Conveniently. He goes on to tell police that he had lost a few items while on his trip. His helmet, fuses, sunglasses, and a screwdriver. Yes, he basically places himself at the crime scene and then tells them that he lost these items that were found right by Sierra's bike. Genius. Right? Police leave the house with red flags up everywhere. Flying high. They're flying high. They go back to the station and they run a background check on James Worley. Okay, who is James Worley? James Worley was born on April 8th, 1959 in Tacoma, Washington. He graduated from Evergreen High School in 1978 and he worked various jobs such as a farmer and a crew member for the state county fair. He was described as a little weird with average intelligence. His sister testified in court that he would sit in puddles when he was a kid and scream. He has a college education and he had a fairly decent background. July 4th, 1989, 26 years prior to Sierra's disappearance in White House, Ohio. Robin Gardner is riding her bike while her family is busy setting up for a July 4th barbecue. As she's riding her bike, it's hot and she doesn't have water with her and she says that she's dehydrating. So she hears a car coming up behind her. So she figures, I'll let this car pass me. Then I'll turn around and I'll go home, get water, whatever, call it quits. Because it was just way too hot, she says. So next thing she knows, the car hits her and knocks her to the ground. The driver gets out of the car, James Worley. He walks over to her and he asks Robin if she's okay. Takes a screwdriver, puts it towards her neck and drags her to the truck. He gets out his handcuffs. He gets a handcuff on her right hand. Robin grabs the steering wheel with her left hand, and she won't let go of the steering wheel because she knows if she lets go of that steering wheel, he's going to cuff her other hand behind her back. And she does not want that to happen because then she's done, right? So she's struggling and fighting. All of a sudden, Robin spots a motorcycle coming down the road. So she starts screaming and flailing and thankfully, the Good Samaritan stops. When the Good Samaritan stops, James Worley, I guess he gets spooked, so he lets her go real quick. Quick enough that she's able to run to the guy on the motorcycle, and he throws her on the motorcycle. He takes her to the police station. Okay? Following me? Police get Robin to the hospital, and the Good Samaritan takes police back to where the whole thing goes down. When they got there, James is still there. He stayed there. He waited for them. So he tells them what happened, but with a twist. Shocker, I know, shocker. He tells police that Robin was weaving back and forth in the street. So even though he did hit her, it wasn't his fault. It was her fault. He says that after he hits her, she becomes so hysterical that he tried to handcuff her to keep her calm long enough so that he can get her to safety. Worley's arrested. And a jury's smart enough not to buy what he's selling. He is sentenced to 6 to 10 years, but he only serves 3 years for good behavior. When news breaks about Sierah, Robin is living in Chicago at this time. An old neighbor of Robin's calls her up to tell her about the story and to tell her how eerily similar the stories are. Her story and Sierra's story. So Robin immediately phones police to share her story with them. Police rush back over to James Worley's mother's house with a search warrant in hand. And just like with Robin, James Worley is standing there ready to explain away the situation. The property had the house, 2 barns, a machine shop, and a trailer. Okay? There was not much of real significance found inside the home. Did find adult diapers in the kitchen, living room, and 2 bedrooms. A damp gray extra large t-shirt in the wash machine with debris present on the left sleeve. A dirty pair of jeans from Worley's bedroom, a computer tower, black boots with caked on mud. When officers walked into the north barn, they say that Worley's reaction to them being there was a little unsettling. When they walk over to a green crate inside the barn, they find bags and bags of women's clothing. Worley said that he keeps those clothes for the women he's dating. I don't think he's dating too many women. Sorry. I don't. There's one pair in particular that is found, these purple ones. These belong to Sierah, and her DNA would later be found on them. They would also find a metal rake and a scoop shovel leaning up against the wall. The floor had recently been raked, and Worley would tell them that he did it in preparation to raise rabbits. Sure you did. When officers moved the hay bales, they found a roll of duct tape, a piece of white rope, a trash bag containing adult diapers, an air mattress, handcuffs, and keys. They would also find a carpet-lined freezer buried into the floor. Doesn't everybody bury their freezer in the floor? I'm just saying, doesn't everybody do that? When the freezer is pulled out, they find that it has a strong chemical odor. They find a drop of blood on the south wall of the barn. And inside the green crate, they find more adult diapers, bondage clothing and restraints, a roll of white clothesline, latex gloves, the clear plastic bags that contained the women's clothing, a piece of duct tape with straw, hair, and other debris on it, brown rope, a pink sex toy, and Sierra's purple underwear. Inside the machine shop, police would find Worley's motorcycle, which had pollen stuck to it, adult diapers, a tool board that had compartment for ammunition, handcuff keys, 2 sets of handcuffs with keys tied to them, zip ties, and a bottle of bleach. Worley's red Chevy S10 pickup was wet and it had water inside the bed even though it hadn't rained recently, which means it was washed. Inside the truck they found pepper spray on the driver's side, a black ski mask, work gloves, a car warmer, a roll of duct tape, and 7 24-inch zip ties, three of them that have already been connected. Worley also had a green Dodge Dakota pickup. Inside of that, they found white rope bundled with black electrical tape and zip ties under the driver's seat and floor mat of the driver's seat. Worley told officers that the bondage they found was for a PRN business that he was planning on starting. Detectives would bring in dogs, drain ponds, and search every inch of that property. They searched for 3 days, but no Sierra. July 22nd, 2016, a volunteer that's driving down County Road 7 spots a pile of dirt on the east side that has been disturbed in a cornfield. He follows the drag marks for about 20 to 25 yards, where he spots what looks like a shallow grave. He calls police, officers arrive, and they discover that a hole had been dug, but that the hole was empty. Later that day, investigators were called to County Road 7 for a pile of freshly disturbed dirt on the west side. As officers began approaching the scene, they could smell decomposition. Sierra's body was found covered in dirt with her wrists handcuffed behind her back, her ankles bound together with duct tape, and her feet bound to her hands with rope. She was lying on her stomach with her head turned to the side, and this is the worst part. A rubber yellow cone-shaped dog toy that was secured with a shoelace tied at the back of her head had been used to gag her. There was straw in her hair, and she was dressed in a lace brassiere and was wearing an adult diaper. An autopsy was performed on July 25th, 2016. Doctors' findings were that Sierra had a head wound high on the right side of her forehead that had caused significant amount of bleeding. There was a hairline fracture on her skull, several contusions along her outer left leg. Dr. Baser goes on to say that the dog toy was the same size as her mouth. It filled the entire oral cavity, completely cutting off her ability to breathe. Dr. Baser says that there would be visible and audible signs of distress while trying to breathe that would have lasted about 10 minutes before she ultimately passes. Forensic analysis of Worley's computer shows that he visited a site called X Videos, which is a website for PRN. In 2015 and in 2016, he searched for videos using keywords hogtied teen, bound teens, forced teens, stranded and forced rough pickup. July 18th and 19th of 2016, he accessed a website called AliExpress.com to search for camisole tanks and G-string thongs, wholesale women's bralettes, underwear, crop tank tops, and other lingerie. Because they can never be sure of Sierra's exact time of death, they used the time and date that she was found. July 22nd, 2016 at 9 p.m. 2 years later, James Worley's trial starts. There was 8 days of testimony. Victim Robin Gardner was the last to testify on the last day of the trial. The jury deliberated for 6 hours, and he was found guilty on 19 counts and sentenced to death. Perfect. Bye. Sayonara. Bye. He's currently scheduled to be executed on May 20th, 2025. In July of 2018, Worley's Delta, Ohio property is awarded to the Jougin estate, and the family has it destroyed shortly after. Good for you. Sierra's death actually prompted a new bill that provides searchable database of felons in the state that are convicted of specific violent crimes. It was signed into law in December of 2018. Okay, guys, if you're still here, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you so very much. Leave me a like and a comment if you haven't yet. If you feel so inclined to, please subscribe. If you have any case suggestions, please email me at harding527@yahoo.com. As long as the information's on my side, I'm pretty good about covering your cases for you. Until next time, stay safe out there, and I love you all. Bye.